So, you want to visit a haunted house, I think I have one that should suit you. That is, if you dare follow me. You will? Fine. Shall we go, then? Here we are at the door. Happy haunting.
I feel so strange. I need some air. I'll just open the window. There, that's better. What was that?
It's just sound effects. It's nothing.
Full moons always make me feel so strange.
It worked. You were really scared, Richie.
Joni, what are you doing down here?
I'm trying out my werewolf costume.
What's going on down here? Who yelled?
Richie yelled. He's so scared.
You didn't scare me.
You yelled.
Joni, what are you doing up at this hour? Now take off those arms and get to bed.
Well, I had to try my costume, didn't I? Good night.
I was just on the verge of falling asleep, and I heard this yell.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I was watching this old movie, and Joni sneaked up behind me.
And that's what made you yell?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at you. Scared by a movie?
Well, it kind of gets you when you're all alone down here like that. And this is a pretty good one, too. See, this Count has rented this big mansion, and nobody knows that he's a vampire. Now, he's trying to get the girl next door. He's already bitten her once, and now he's going back for a second bite.
If this note is true, it means that everyone in this place is one of them. We're going to have to get back into
They better not go in there. They better not open that door.
Why not?
Because all the Count's wives are in there, and they're all vampires, too, and they'll just swarm all over those guys and suck their blood.
Here's a door, Jerry. Let's see what's in here. My flashlight went out. It's so dark. Let's get out of here. Open the door, Jerry. Quick.
Watch out for the bat.
Oh, my. Was that a bat?
Well, they say you shouldn't watch TV in the dark. You could ruin your eye.
The night was dark, the moon was high. I was walking along, holding hands with my guy, when all of a sudden his breath became quick. His eyes began flashing, these words fell from his lips. I'll take you to the voodoo lair. It's mighty weird down there. The werewolf does the voodoo walk. Instead of monster mash you stalk. The mummy does it with a thud. When the vampire does it, he drinks your blood. Do a little walk, give a funny quiver. Walk on back and give a little shiver. Fly back in and then begin to stalk. Just like a shadow, that's a voodoo walk. All the ghouls do it, it'll go to your head. Come to the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. Shadow, that's a voodoo walk. All the ghouls do it, it'll go to your head. Come to the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. To the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. To the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. To the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. To the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead. To the voodoo walk, the dance of the dead.
I am William Castle, the director of the motion picture you're about to see. I feel obligated to warn you that some of the sensations, some of the physical reactions which the actors on the screen will will also be experienced for the first time in motion picture history by certain members of this audience. But don't be alarmed, you can protect yourself. At any time you are conscious of a tingling sensation, you may obtain immediate relief by screaming.
Look at that, Tingler, Dave. It's an ugly and dangerous thing. Ugly because it's the creation of man's fear, which is ugly too. Dangerous because a frightened man is dangerous. We know that fear alone energizes, it gives it strength.
You believe that screaming or perhaps any sound the human in fear can make de-energizes it, paralyzes it?
Well, screaming may even dissolve it, or if it's a living organism, kill it.
And remember this, a scream at the right time may save your life.
Feeling run down? Sluggish? Need a boost? Then you should try Dr. Warren's all-new Tingler tablets. Dr. Warren's Tingler tablets restore vigor and vitality, as well as inhibit mood and restore a sense of well-being. Although safe, people who have taken Tingler tablets may suffer from these common side effects: blurred vision, tilting and rocking sensations, claustrophobia, shortness of breath, sudden terror and psychosis. Tingler tablets are sold exclusively through this special offer. Why don't you get a tingle today?
You're gonna put down with it, please. Catherine blocks the
When I first came to Wolf's Head Knoll for a short vacation, I thought I would spend a few days reading a good book, and if conditions were right, I thought I might get in a little skiing. Little did I know that my few days' rest would soon turn into a weekend filled with terror.
Good evening, sir. May I help you?
My name is Jameson, Michael Jameson. I believe you have a reservation.
Ah, yes. Mr. Jameson, we've been expecting you. My name is Danvers. I own this hotel. If there's anything that I can do...
No, there's nothing. I just want to...
Listen, we've got to do something. If you want to go and get killed, no one is going to stop you. The moon is full tonight.
Say, what's all the commotion about?
I'm sorry, Mr. Jameson. Pay them no mind. Superstitious nonsense, that's all it is.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
It all started 3 years ago when we heard it for the first time. The next morning, we found one of the villagers torn and mangled as if by a wolf. His throat was torn out.
As bad as that?
And every year since then, it has returned to claim more victims. 18 so far.
Why doesn't somebody organize a hunt and put an end to all of this?
We tried that 3 years ago, and 5 men didn't come back.
Well, whatever this animal is, it can be caught, and I've done a lot of hunting. Perhaps you could gather a few of the villagers together.
A fine idea, but I'm afraid a waste of time. None of the villagers would go with you. At least not under a full moon.
I see.
The villagers think that there's a werewolf prowling the moors. But they're simple folk, and their superstitions run deep. But I'm not afraid, Mr. Jameson. I will go with you.
Blasted fog is a big help. If it gets any thicker...
I think this is where... I say... Jameson. Tracks.
These aren't the tracks of a wolf.
Then the villagers were right.
It looks like it.
Listen, Jameson. I was thinking maybe if we split up...
If you want to go back, I won't hold it against you.
That's not what I meant. I just thought that if we split up, we might cover more ground.
Well, we'd be taking a chance in this fog.
Not if we keep in earshot.
All right. And Danvers, good hunting. We've been at this an hour. I haven't seen any sign of... Is that you, Danvers? I must be getting jumpy. Danvers! 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 I wish we'd never split up. Suddenly, something bared down on me from out of the fog, and before I could fire, it was on top of me. As we fought, something about the creature seemed oddly familiar, and then it dawned on me. It was Danvers. He was the wolf. Finally, I was able to break away and snatch up my rifle. And when it was over, Danvers lay dead. He would never again prowl the moors and strike terror into the hearts of the villagers of Wolf's Head Knoll.
My name is John Richardson. I'm 28 years old and unmarried. I write imaginative fiction. Or at least I did up until 4 months ago. It was around this time that the dream started, and has continued nightly ever since. The dream has even begun to spill over into my waking hours as well. If someone had told me 4 months ago that I would still be struggling to finish my latest novel, The Haunted Melody, I would have called them crazy. But sadly, it does seem to be true, and with my deadline quickly approaching, I'm just about at my rope's end. I think I have to get away somewhere. Maybe then I'll be able to start writing again. So I've made reservations at a little inn up in Maine for a couple of weeks. The drive was pleasant enough, but not knowing the roads, I soon found myself lost. I had missed my turnoff. Climbing shakily out of the car, I looked around, but there was no sign of the figure in the road that I had swerved to miss. It was as if she had never existed at all. It was then that I realized that this was the road in my dream.
know. You've been in an accident on the road and you want to use my phone.
Who are you? What is this place?
I live here. Nobody else will live here.
Why not?
Because it's haunted.
What's haunted? Haunted by what?
It's haunted by you.
Would you like to rent this house, the scene of 7 grisly murders, for your next party or gathering? Mr. Watson Pritchard is hoping that you might. This spacious 25-room mansion comes furnished with a fully stocked wine cellar for your entertainment needs. As well as a complete music room. And a swimming pool should you want to take a short dip. The house also boasts wall-to-wall creeps and hot and cold running chills in every room.
Singer presents David Niven.
Good evening.
Getting rather cold. Do you mind if I shut the door?
You are bound for Clayborough.
Yes, I'm visiting with... Well, how do you know?
It's obvious that you don't remember me, Mr. Langford.
You seem very familiar, but I'm afraid I don't place you.
Dwerrihouse. John Dwerrihouse.
Oh, of course, Allison's brother. Yes, we met at,
At the wedding?
That's right, Allison and Jeff's wedding.
3 years ago. You were home then on leave from somewhere in the East.
Yes, Indian Civil Service, Burma. Well, I'm home for good now. This is my first weekend in England, and Allison and Jeff have very kindly asked me out. I expect you're going to stay there, too, for the weekend.
No. No, I'm on my way to a business transaction.
Do you feel all right? Are you ill?
Why do you ask?
You look rather thinner than I remember Allison's brother, and you are rather pale.
I have in this briefcase £75,000.
I beg your pardon?
Tonight I shall purchase the right-of-way for the new branch line of the East Anglian Railway between Blackwater and Stockbridge.
Did you say you were carrying £75,000 around with you? You mean in the bank draft?
Cash.
Cash?
Why not? Besides being a director of the East Anglian Line, I'm also the principal attorney. I have a position of high authority and trust.
I'm sure you must have, but cash, isn't that rather risky?
How?
I mean, ought you to go around telling people you're carrying all that amount of money?
I can trust you, can't I?
Of course you can, that's not the point. You might tell somebody else who...
Why should I tell anyone except you, Mr. Langford?
Your ticket, sir?
Oh, yes, certainly.
Clayborough.
Are we going to be on time?
Oh, yes, sir.
Why didn't he take your ticket? Didn't even ask you for it.
They never do.
Oh, because you're a director of the line.
I have a lifetime pass.
Mr. Dwerrihouse, are you quite sure you're all right?
Very sure.
Blackwater! Blackwater! Blackwater!
This is where I get off. I'm glad we met, Langford. Very glad.
Thank you.
When you get to Clayborough, I shall be obliged if you will give my sister a message for me.
Well, certainly, I'll be glad to.
Ask her if she's had the fireplace fixed.
What's the fireplace?
The flue was stopped up. I very nearly set the whole bedroom on fire. Burnt up the blue rug. You can remember that, can't you?
Yes, I think so.
Good night, then.
Mr. Dwerrihouse, where did the other passenger go?
Passenger, sir?
Yes, the one who was in the compartment with me.
How's that again, sir? In the compartment?
Oh, never mind. How long do we stop here?
Only until we drop the mail back, sir. But I wouldn't suggest you getting off now.
Mr. Dwerryhouse?
You better hurry, sir. You'll get left.
Of course, the Burmese have the answer to the whole thing. Life, love, everything. They believe that amity gives provision, that provision gives contentment, that contentment gives peace, and peace is happiness. This is utopia. Why look any further?
Since you seem to have found utopia out there, why did you come home?
For the fog and the nasty weather. Well, gentlemen, here's to England. A place built entirely upon coal and surrounded by nothing but fish. Only a socialist government could provide a shortage of both. Oh, by the way, here's to the new branch line of the East Anglian Railroad.
What branch line?
Well, the one from Blackwater to Stockbridge, of course. Well, Dwerryhouse should have told me if this was supposed to be hush-hush.
Dwerryhouse?
Jeff, I had no idea the new line was to be a secret. If I'd been talking out of school,
You've seen my brother-in-law?
Yes. Why, shouldn't I have?
So Dwerryhouse is in Burma?
I never said he was in Burma.
Where is he then?
Well, he's here in England, of course.
In England? That's not possible.
What do you mean it's not possible? I traveled with him tonight on the 6:15.
On the East Anglian line? On our railroad? He wouldn't dare.
Are you gentlemen going to solve all the problems of the world tonight? Or will you give some attention to us?
I suppose we had better join the ladies, gentlemen. Sorry, dear. Bill, you didn't know John very well, did you? How can you be certain you'd recognize him after all this time?
Look, Jeff, I saw him and I talked with him. What's so terrible about him anyway? Is he a typhoid carrier or something?
Worse. He's an embezzler.
Allison's brother?
Yes. 4 months ago, he was carrying 75,000 pounds to close a deal for our new branch line. He disappeared. He's not been found nor heard from since.
Well, that doesn't make much sense. He told me he was carrying 75,000 pounds tonight.
That's preposterous. Bill, you just couldn't have seen him. Not on the East Anglian line.
Now, just a minute, Jeff. Are you questioning my eyesight or my honesty? And not only saw him, I can prove it. Here.
Where'd you get this?
He dropped it when he got off at Blackwater.
Allison was so certain he was dead. To her, somehow, it was easier thinking of him dead rather than a thief.
Jeff, I'm sorry. I had no idea I'd stumbled into something like this.
Then he's alive. John is alive. Where is he, Bill?
Darling, don't get your hopes up. This could easily be a case of mistaken identity.
The cigar case.
And the message.
Message?
Yes, he told me to ask you if you'd had the fireplace in the bedroom fixed. He said the last time he was here, he almost burned up the blue rug.
The blue rug. It is John. He is alive.
Then he's come back. But why?
There he is. Conductor, I rode the 6:15 this evening. There's a gentleman with me. Would you describe him to Mr. Pender here, please?
I beg your pardon, sir. There was another passenger in the compartment. I would have remembered.
Do you remember me?
Oh, yes, sir. You were bound for a Clayborough.
That's right. Well, this other man...
Did I take his ticket, sir?
No, of course not. He had a pass.
Oh, there you see, sir. If he had a pass, I'd have remembered him for fare.
He must be lying. He couldn't have helped seeing Dwerryhouse.
John Dwerryhouse?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Pendle, sir, if I'd seen Mr. Dwayhouse, I'd do me duty like being instructed to up and down the line. I'd have called you, sir, or the Home Office. I'd have reported it for sure.
Then you didn't see him. You swear to it.
You couldn't have helped seeing him.
Oh, sir, I wouldn't withhold information like that. Not with 30 years in the line and me pension coming up.
Thank you.
Will that be all, sir?
Yes.
Jeff, you're not going to believe that. That man must have been paid to keep his mouth shut.
I don't understand it.
You mean you don't believe me?
I didn't say that. But I had hoped we'd find him or a lead on him before we had to face the board of directors. And Sir Charles.
You make the Sir Charles sound like an ogre.
Well, he's not far from it.
Now, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Langford, Dwayhouse told you he was carrying £75,000 to purchase a branch line for the railroad. That's right. And when he got off the train, and you went after him with the cigar case, he met a man whom you describe as middle-aged, middle-sized, wearing a grey-trimmed beard. That's correct. This is your contention, in spite of the fact that the conductor, who knew Mr. Dwayhouse very well by sight, disagrees with you. If you prefer to take the conductor's word instead of mine, that's your prerogative. But every employee on the East Anglian line knew Mr. Dwayhouse by sight. Why didn't any of them come forward and say that they'd seen him? I don't know. And furthermore, I don't care. I only came here as a favor to Jeff.
Sir Charles, there is the man with the grey beard. Now, if we could find him...
Oh, yes, the nebulous man with the grey beard. Middle-aged, you say? Yes, middle-aged, middle-sized, and with a grey-trimmed beard. That description would fit many of my friends. Now, I come to think of it, Rakes, my secretary, has a grey beard. And, Mr. Hardwick here. Now, he fits your description perfectly. Perhaps, Mr. Langford, he is your man. You know very well he's not. Now, just exactly what are you trying to get at, Sir Charles? Oh, you don't believe I met Dwayhouse? Oh, I believe that you met him. The cigar case and the fact that you knew about the branch line and the £75,000 testifies to that. But I do not believe that you met him on the 6:15 last night.
Sir Charles.
It's all right, Jeff. I want to hear this. Go ahead, Sir Charles. Where do you believe I met him? In Burma. In Burma? Then where did I find the cigar case? You didn't find it. He gave it to you as proof that you're his representative. His representative? Let's come to the point, Mr. Langford. How much of the £75,000 will John Dwayhouse return to us for immunity?
Bill, wait, please.
The man with the beard. This is the man. The man who met Dwayhouse at Blackwater Station. I tell you, Sir Charles, this is the man I saw at Blackwater Station. The man with the beard.
The report you wanted, sir.
Riggs, do you know this man?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen him?
I'm afraid not, sir.
He says he's never seen you, Langford. I didn't say he had seen me. I said I saw him.
I don't understand. You saw me?
I saw you at Blackwater Station talking to John Dwayhouse. Well, Riggs?
You must be mistaken. You couldn't have seen me. It's not possible.
I saw you on the station platform about 7 o'clock last night.
Last night?
It doesn't matter what he says. There's no question about it. This is the man. You're positive? You'd swear to that? Absolutely.
Sir Charles, Bill is an old friend of mine. His integrity is beyond question.
They were standing underneath a lamppost. I saw him clearly talking to Dwayhouse. It's an interesting thing, Langford, but according to you, everybody is lying except you. The conductor, now Rakes. Next you'll be accusing me. Well, ask him where he was last night. Go ahead, ask him. Rakes, tell the gentleman where you were. Go on. You worked at the office until what time?
Why, until the usual hour, 6.
And then what did you do?
Why, you know, sir. I went home with you.
Tell Mr. Langford.
Well, Sir Charles Carr called for us at 6, and then we went to his house. We had a bit of supper together in his library, and then we worked on these reports until 12:30.
I'm sorry, Langford, but it's all true. Rakes wasn't out of my sight last night for more than 5 minutes, and I don't live anywhere near Blackwater. So if you persist in accusing Rakes, you also accuse me, because I'm his alibi. me Scotland Yard. Inspector Blaney?
Yes. It's Mr. Langford, isn't it?
Yes.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Glad to have you back from Burma, Mr. Langford.
Oh, I'm flattered.
Cigarette?
No, thank you. Is this a new function of Scotland Yard? Welcoming every returning civil servant back into the fold?
Well, not everyone, Mr. Langford. Let's see now. You're retired from the service?
No, I resigned.
Oh, and you had, what was it now, 15 years altogether?
Yes, 15 years.
Too bad. Another 10 years and you'd have been pensioned. You know, had he changed much?
Who?
House. From the last time you met, I mean. You were old friends, you say.
I didn't say, and we weren't. I've only seen him once before, about 3 years ago, at a wedding.
Yes, of course, a man changes in 3 years. Lord knows I didn't wear these things 3 years ago. Yes, we all get on.
We do, don't we?
I understand that you're going to reopen your family home down in Sussex.
Yes, that's right.
Going to live there?
I plan to, yes.
Most people are selling properties like your home in Sussex. The upkeep is so great nowadays.
Well, I'm rather behind the times. I've been away for 15 years.
So you didn't like Burma then?
On the contrary, I like Burma very much indeed.
Oh, I don't know what could have given me that impression.
You want to know why I resigned, is that it, Inspector? How I could afford to quit and forego the pension?
Well, I shouldn't want you to think that I was prying into your affairs, Mr. Langford.
No, I didn't think that for a moment, Inspector.
You know, they ought to like those platforms better. That one at Blackwater, for instance.
If you're suggesting that I didn't see rakes, you should check my army record. You'll find that my eyesight is 20/20. And as to my resigning without a pension, my bank will tell you that my finances are in good order, too.
Oh.
There's a photograph of Dwelly House.
Well, so nice of you to stop by and chat, Mr. Langford.
Very nice of you to ask me, Inspector. Hello, Jeff.
Oh, Bill. What did Scotland Yard want?
Well, the same thing, only now the implications are coming home to roost on me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't want you to get involved in this.
That is not your fault. Did you see Rakes?
Yes, I talked to him.
What did he say?
There was no shaking his story. He was with Sir Charles last night.
Did you check that?
I even went as far as checking on Sir Charles. I tell you, Bill, I feel you must be wrong somewhere.
Then Sir Charles is implicated.
What?
Why not? It's not impossible, is it?
Sir Charles an embezzler? The idea is ridiculous.
Well, they think I am.
No, I'm sorry, Bill. I'm so mixed up by this whole thing, I can't even think straight.
There's an answer to this thing somewhere around. Did you get Rakes' home address?
Yes. Here it is.
12 Sudbury Road.
I have nothing to say to you.
Well, maybe I have something to say to you.
There's nothing to talk about.
Leave me alone! Get out! Where's Dwerryhouse?
Dwerryhouse?
Yes, Dwerryhouse. He came in here. I saw him.
In here? This is some kind of trick. You can't frighten me.
Rakes, look behind you.
Dwerryhouse. What is this? What are you trying to do to me? You can have the money back, Dwerryhouse. I don't want it. I didn't mean to take it. Go away. Go away. You're dead. I killed you. I killed you. You're dead.
Wait.
It can't be him. I killed him. I killed him.
Come. What's wrong here?
He thinks he killed a man.
And did he, sir?
No, of course not. The man he thinks he killed inside that house. Well, go and look for yourself. He's in the parlor.
I will.
Now, take it easy, Rakes. Everything's going to be all right.
I killed him. The money. Hid the money. Buried it on the floor in the kitchen. I didn't mean to steal it. All that money.
The 75,000 pounds? Then you embezzled it. It wasn't Dwerryhouse.
I killed him. Took the money. I'll make him go away. Leave me alone. He's dead. I tell you, he's dead.
Where is he? Did you find him?
I don't know what's going on here, but there's nobody in that house.
Of course, he's in the parlor. I told you.
Yes, I understand. But you better come along too, sir.
Rakes confessed to the murder, and we found Dwerryhouse's body buried under a chalk pit a mile from his house under a pile of rocks. We also found the money buried under the kitchen floor.
But if he's dead, who was that I talked to in the train?
Nobody.
Well, now, look here, Inspector. You trying to tell me I'm crazy?
Let's put it this way. You were on your way to visit your friends. The last time you'd seen them, you'd taken that same train to their wedding. Your mind just slipped back a cog this time and fastened on one of the guests, Dwerryhouse.
Are you suggesting that I materialized Dwerryhouse out of my mind?
Let's say you fell asleep and dreamed it.
Is this cigar case part of my dream?
According to this report, the train car you rode in had been on a siding for months. It was put back into service the day of the night you rode in it to accommodate the holiday trade. And it hadn't been properly cleaned. The cigar case must have lodged itself in the cushion.
That's just assumption.
Perhaps. But this isn't. The lost and found claim that John Dwerryhouse made to the company for this same cigar case 2 weeks before he was murdered. Satisfied?
Inspector, are you sure that I didn't...
See a ghost? Quite.
Well, then who was it who frightened Rakes into confessing?
That's easy. Rakes merely thought he saw the ghost because he had a guilty conscience.
Now, you make it all sound so plausible.
There's a logical explanation for everything.
Well, I hope I haven't been too big a nuisance to you.
Nuisance? Indeed not. Why, we've been able to wrap the whole thing up, thanks to your... well, anyway, thank you very much indeed.
Good night, Inspector. Inspector.
Yes?
'Twas a spooky night. The clock struck 4. I heard a knock on my closet door. When I looked in, all that I could see
was the frightful nobody. Ooh, this frightful nobody. Ooh.
First he was a shadow on the door. Then he stretched out on the floor. I never knew what he'd turn out to be.
This frightful nobody. Ooh.
So I went creeping back to bed as fast as my feet would carry me. Then I said, this is very silly. There's only nobody scaring me. He kept his mouth shut when he talked. He kept his feet still when he walked. He closed his eyes and tried to hide from me.
This frightful nobody. Ooh, the frightful nobody. Ooh.
I said, nobody, come on out. Enough's enough, I began to shout. He shuddered and shook and said, please don't scare me.
This frightful nobody.
I slowly reached next to my bed, turned on the light so he could see. Then I said, open up your eyes and don't be afraid when you see me. So now whenever I try to sleep and I hear nobody start to creep, me, myself, and I happily agree not to frighten nobody.
Ooh, the frightful nobody. Ooh, that nobody's scared of me.
I've been expecting you. Oh, forgive me. We haven't been formally introduced, have we? Well, my name is... Oh, but my name is unimportant, really. After all, you didn't come here to learn my name, did you? No. You came here because I am an expert on the terrors of the night. The Ghost Belonged to Me, by Richard Peck, A story lives within these covers, a strange, wonderful, mysterious world waiting to come to life. Take your imagination, use it as a key to unlock this world, and then you can step inside and meet Alexander Armsworth. He's 13 years old, never seen a ghost before, never believed in ghosts. Until that peculiar young girl in his class, Blossom Culp, told him something that would change his life forever.
Oh, Blossom, it's you. Doggone it.
I've got something to tell you, and you better listen.
You got nothing to tell me that I want to hear.
It's about something that belongs to you, only you don't know it. And according to my mama, what you don't know about could mean the death of you.
What is it you wanted to tell me?
My mama sees the unseen, and she can even see into the future.
Well, maybe your mama should see a doctor.
Now, Alexander, my mama says for me to tell you that she's seen the unseen in your barn. She did. She saw one of them halos, sure enough, right in your barn.
I don't know why I ever listen to a word you say. Nobody else ever does.
You better pay heed to that halo. Your barn glows pink, and it's a sure sign it's haunted. The halo tells it, and the color tells who.
What do you mean, who?
The kind of ghost that's haunting it. Yours is pink, so that means it's a ghost of a young girl. Died before she grew up.
Is this what you came here to tell me?
I'm telling you all this because my mama says you're receptive. You can make contact with the unseen if you take a notion to.
That's it.
That ghost, it belongs to you, Alexander Armsworth.
Alexander was left with Blossom's outrageous suggestion about the ghost in the barn and his own imagination, or maybe, heaven forbid, a real ghost.
Oh, that's it, Blossom. You've gone too far. You outdone yourself. Come on out. Show yourself, or I'll wring your scrawny neck. Come on out. I know it's only you in there.
I'm lost. All is lost. Oh, the dead and the dying.
Who are you?
Alexander, I need you. They need you. Listen to me, because I know what will happen. Oh, more death, more, but you can save them.
Save who?
Others, lost, drowned in the black water, like me.
Drowned? Holy mackerel.
Save them. The bridge. The bridge is dangerous. The road leads to nothing. It leads to the bottom.
Getting out of here.
Alexander, the bridge.
bridge. Follow. I don't think I should. Follow. Alexander, follow me. The river's up. I've never seen it so high. That's what you meant, isn't it? Huh? Where'd you...
You crazy fool! What are you trying to do? Get yourself killed? I got a good mind.
bridge!
What?
It's gonna fall! Holy Moses.
You would have been on that bridge. You were right, kid, but how did you know?
Well, she told me. She brought me out here.
Who? I don't see anybody. What are you talking about?
Down the road, at the bottom of the hill. Look.
I don't see anybody, I tell you.
Wait! Don't go! I want to talk to you. Am I going to see you again?
I don't know what you're looking at, kid, but I don't see anybody.
No, I know. Can't. She belongs to me.
Commit a murder. Poison your husband? Frighten your wife to death? Then perhaps you need the services of Watson Pritchard, attorney at law, the only attorney that specializes in murder. No case is too bloody, no murder too grisly. He will even do his best to help you avoid the electric chair. If he can help you, then contact Watson Pritchard at 555-5455. That's 555-KILL.
To the good people who lived in Sleepy Hollow, he became a legend. The people believed in that legend because they had so often seen the terrifying headless horseman galloping across the countryside in search of his missing head. The night of this story, he was to ride one more time.
Indeed, Mr. Craig.
Forgive me, but why is it you refuse to call me by my first name, Ichabod?
Ichabod is, I'm sorry, painful to my ears.
Oh.
Mr. Crane, however, has a charming ring to it.
Yes? And tell me, dear lady, how does the sound of Mrs. Crane strike your delicate ears?
Mrs. Crane being your mother, I take it.
Oh, Brom, I missed you at the dance.
And I you, Katrina. I had things to do.
Out wrestling with the pigs again, eh, Mr. Bones?
There ain't no sport in wrestling pigs, schoolteacher. But whomping a bit on swine's another thing altogether.
Tell me, Mr. Bones, how many muscles do you have? Counting your head, of course.
May I have the honor of escorting you to your home, Katrina? The dance being almost over. You should have a man with you. The horseman scaring folks around the countryside and all.
Miss Katrina is being escorted home by me.
Like I said, she ought to have a man with her, Ichabod.
I beg your pardon. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Miss Katrina, forgive me, Miss Katrina. I don't know how I could have been such a fool. Forgive me.
Oh, that's quite all right, Mr. Crane. There's no injury done. In fact, I should thank you. Mr. Crane, it might be better if Braun does escort me home tonight.
But,
I do fear the headless horseman, and it will take you so very far out of your way.
I don't mind.
You heard the lady, Ichabod. She wants me to protect her from the horseman.
Nonsense. Headless horseman, indeed.
You won't be talking that way after you run into him. I seen him.
Yes?
Like to freeze my spine, it did. Oh. And you can't outrun that stallion of his, no matter what manner of horseflesh you ride.
Well, my, horse, gun, powder. He may not look like much, but he'll do, I'm sure.
Why, that stallion of his breathes fire and runs faster than a March wind.
Poppycock. Empty stories for empty heads.
Oh, Mr. Crane, I do hope you will be careful. I would hate to see anything happen to you.
Oh, well, don't you worry, Miss Katrina. I'll be careful. I can defend myself if anything should come along.
Maybe you should leave right away before it gets too late. The later it gets, the worse it gets.
Worse, yes. Well, perhaps you're right. Not that I'm afraid, of course. But...
If I were you, Ichabod Crane, I'd take another path home tonight. The horseman's been spied in the valley 3 nights running.
Mr. Bones, really, your obvious attempts at frightening me are falling on deaf ears. Even if there were such a specter, and I'm not saying for 1 minute that I believe in such a notion, even if there were. What on earth would he want with me?
Your head. They say that if you cross the church bridge, you'll be safe. If you make it that far.
Oh, headless horseman, indeed. Can you believe such idiocy, Gunpowder? Perhaps a storm is brewing, old friend, eh? Maybe I shouldn't have left that party. Maybe I should have stayed and fought it out with that Brom Bones. Oh, who goes there? Oh, rabbit, no doubt. Probably just a rabbit. Let's pick up the pace a bit, Gunpowder. I'd like to be across that church bridge before the storm strikes. What's the problem, old boy? What is it? Whoa, whoa. Oh. What seems to be the problem? I got a rock in a shoe here. I can't see anything. Age. Age, I believe, is your particular problem. Age and a belly that will soon be scraping along the road. Who? Who there said who? Tricks one's mind plays. Hello? Hello there? Going my way? Oh dear. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do? Are you from around these parts? I've just been at a party over at Van Tassel's, and where are you headed? Yes, let's go, Gunpowder.
Oh, what's going to happen to me? Oh, I think he's getting closer.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, he is following. Oh, my goodness. Oh, slow down. Oh, yeah. Now, maybe if we just walk along. Oh, dear. And pretend that nothing's wrong. He's walking too. He's walking too. I don't know what this means. Oh, whoa, Gunpowder, my foot. My foot came out of the stirrup here. Oh, my goodness. I thought. Oh. My God. Help! Gunpowder! Let's go! Help me! Help me! Somebody help me! Gunpowder! Go faster! Gunpowder! Please, let's make it! Oh, no! Oh, no! We've got to make the bridge, Gunpowder! Oh, my head! My head! Oh, the bridge! The bridge! Oh, right! We made it, Gunpowder! We made it! We're safe! He won't cross that bridge! Try and catch me, you silly spectre! You silly spectre! We made it, Gunpowder!
Bisou, bisou, bisou. 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 You know I love you so. I never let you go. And baby, now you know I really love I walked out of my laboratory door, I saw the monster I created years before. You all remember that horrible face? He followed me at a deadly pace. The chills ran up and down my spine. No, no, Frankenstein! That monster tried to kill me once before. He beat me on the head and bounced me on the floor. I thought he died when my laboratory burned, but I was wrong, cause my monster has returned. The chills ran up and down my spine. No, no, Frankenstein! I was scared to death and nearly out of breath, running as fast as I could go. He was close behind, I was on his mind. Why did my feet move so slow? I felt his hand grab a hold of my coat. I heard it rip and he clutched for my throat. Why did I give him the strength of 10 men? Is this the price I must pay for my sin? The chills ran up and down my spine.
Oh, dear.
But, Mom, the candy corn is the good stuff.
I don't care. You're not eating anything that isn't wrapped.
Boy, if you can't trust your neighbors, who can you trust?
Well, there's an awful lot of crazy people around these days. Your father said so.
What's this, the end of the rainbow?
I really made a hug, didn't I, Dad?
Yeah. Hey, it looks great.
Don't eat that, Dad.
Why not?
It's not wrapped.
There are a lot of crazy people around these days. You said so yourself, Howard.
Marion, the stuff we gave out wasn't wrapped.
Well, we know we're not crazy.
I know I'm not.
Joni, go to bed.
Mom.
Oh.
You're in a good mood.
Oh, yeah, it was a great party. I had a terrific time, and I wasn't scared once.
What'd you do, stay outside in your car?
Joni, you go to bed?
All right. I'm going to bed, but I counted everything, and if any of my red licorice is missing, there's gonna be trouble.
Listen, one of the kids told a cute little joke tonight. If you take the inside out of a hot dog, what have you got left? A Halloweenie.
We take you now to Carl Phillips, our commentator.
You and I together are going to see what is in the old tomb. We're going to shut the door behind us. And right now, all 700 years of the history of this castle comes out into view as we stand here in almost utter darkness, scraping our feet to watch our way. And we actually see nothing as yet, as our eyes have not become accustomed to the darkness, as this little flashlight does not throw out very much light. If a monster were in here, if such fable be true, he could be right next to us. We have knocked over something here that... Oh, excuse me, just 1 second, but... Oh, when that fell, ladies and gentlemen, you can imagine what ran through our mind. It seemed like some type of a... trying to kick it with our foot, something maybe that looks like a church window that may have been used in a burial service or something, and we're bending over to try to see it. Thank goodness it isn't. We can report it. It isn't alive or anything near being alive. We're shining our light up on the wall as we heard something. You excuse the gasp, but our light is fading and it's on something that looks like a statue. Yes, it is just a statue, but an ungodly statue. We're kicking it. We're going to go up and examine this statue right now. It is a horrible-looking statue, much like the monster, perhaps something put here years ago, maybe the original mold. It is very eerie, to say the least, as this misty moon is coming through the window. But we don't believe in these things, and we're going to walk up and touch this to see perhaps what it could be made of. It may be of wax or plaster. No, it couldn't. It seemed to move as we came up upon it. No, this is ridiculous. It did move. That is not wax. I'm getting out of here. Please, God, help. Help, please, help. Please. Can't you hear me out there? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast. There's some difficulty with our field transmission.